Okay, ladies, for lack of a better term, we're going to call this dry fire video number 1. Here are your goals as we go through these dry fire practices. When you're shooting any stage during a USPSA match, we know that you're going to be doing 4 things. You're going to be sighting that gun, pressing the trigger, performing some kind of transition as you go from target to target to target, and then lastly, you're eventually going to have to reload. Before we get into the actual dry fire, let's talk about gearing up. And when you gear up, I'm going to ask you to right now start to find a way of getting your gear into the same place each and every time, so that you begin to train your hand on exactly where to go when you begin to do your draws and where the hand will go when you do your reloads. Your holster needs to be on your strong side. I believe both of you are right-handed, so that needs to be on your right-hand side and behind the hip bone. Find your hip bone, make sure that holster is behind it. Same thing as with your magazine pouches. In the production division, these magazine pouches are going to need to be behind your hip bone. This is my limited division set of gear, so these are actually going to be in front of my hip bone for you. Your magazine holsters need to be behind the hip bone. Let's talk now about setting up your targets. I've sent you a couple files via email. I want you to print out 4 of the paper targets, and then also 8 of the U.S. popper shapes, or the pepper popper shapes. Cut those out, just Scotch tape. They hang on the wall nice and neat without doing anything terrible to the paint. Set it up like I've got it there on the wall with the poppers all in one row, and then the paper at staggered heights. It doesn't have to be this exact pattern, but I don't want the paper to be all in one height. First and foremost, trigger presses. We're going to go back to dry fire nice and simply. I want you to get used to sighting the gun, press it out, put your sight picture there, get it correct with the front sight inside of the notch of the rear sight, centered in on that A-zone, press trigger nice and slow until it goes click. You manually reset the firearm by cycling the slide, and then again, reset and press the trigger. You're going to do that a total of 20 times, nice and slow. Look for perfect sight alignment. Reset it. After you've done that 20 times, I want you to begin to pick up the pace. I want you to make it faster. You're going to do that by being more efficient, by minimizing things that don't have to be there. In this case, it means getting rid of fuss. I don't want you to see perfect sight picture. I want you now to see good sight picture. Press the trigger. Look for error. So you get it out there, see it, press. Cycle, right back out. As soon as you see it, press. 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 Doesn't have to be perfect sight picture. It needs to be a good sight. It needs to be a good trigger press, but you're looking for error. If you see that front sight suddenly do something crazy, that's telling you that you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. Your reload practice. Put the empty magazine into the gun, sight it out on the target, practice a reload. Drop the magazine out, press the magazine in, come back out onto the target. Magazine comes out, magazine comes in, back out on target. Reset yourself. Come out on target, sighted, reload. Reload. Reset yourself. Reload. Reload. I have a video on reloading. I'd like you to watch it. Now I want you to begin to practice your raise. If you have your holster, continue with this video. If you don't have your holster, go to dry fire practice number 2 on table starts and table reloads. So, begin your dry fire practice routine with draws to the paper targets. Hands relaxed at sides. Left hand comes up to the mid-chest region, right over the solar plexus is a good place to start. Right hand comes up to the firearm, get a good grip, draw it up, begin to count it forward and bring it together with the hands. Get that left hand up underneath the gun, your grip into place, finish arcing up and out until you have your sight picture. I have a video on that, make sure you watch it. But then begin to just draw to the paper, one trigger press. reset it, holster it, and then repeat. Looking for smoothness. Bring your hands together each time. Get your gun out there. Press the trigger. Do that for about 15 times. Then, do the array of paper. Draw, sight, press the trigger, get the click, then mimic the second press. Transition, 2 presses, transition, 2 presses, transition, 2 presses. Reset it, go back to the holster, do it again. Draw, 2 presses on each of the paper, transitioning. See it. It's real important for you right now to be seeing that sight picture on the target each time as you press the trigger, and then look for that error to manifest. Look for efficiency. Now, we've got 2 arrays, the paper array and the popper array. I'd like you to practice your dry fire. Draw out, dry fire onto the paper, 2 shots each, do a reload into the steel. 1 press each, see the sight picture on that fat part of the popper. Get yourself reset. And repeat the process. Draw to the popper this time. 1 press on each steel. Do a reload, come in on the paper. 2 presses, transition, finish target. Do that a total of 8 times. Paper, reload into the steel, that's 1. Then do the steel, transition into the paper, that'll be 2. And then repeat. I want you to finish with 10 good trigger presses. Find something small to aim at, whether it be the little spot on the binding of a book or maybe the face on a picture across the room, but nice and small. Sight on it. Once you see the sight once you see the sight alignment and sight picture, press that trigger, reset it, come back out, look for near perfection, press the trigger, recycle it, reset, press the trigger. 10 great trigger presses. Remember that during your dry fire practice, you're going to be practicing those 4 things you're going to do during every stage. Sighting gun, pressing the trigger, transitioning targets, and then lastly, reloads. The 3 lessons, though, during this first reload or this first dry fire practice were to get you practicing that proper trigger press, seeing a sight picture. Then I want you to understand how much I was reinforcing seeing. That you are seeing a sight picture on the target each and every time before you make that good trigger press. Your eyes will become your speed control. When you see it, you're ready to shoot it, but don't ever shoot before you see it. And then lastly, we're looking to become efficient. I'm looking for minimized effort, not a whole lot of something other than what you need to be doing to actually bring this, shrinking up the times and to make everything faster by not necessarily speeding everything up. If you're not doing funny things that don't have to be there, it's automatically going to be quicker, whether that be to draw or to reload or transitions. Just move the gun directly to the next paper target or from steel to steel.